The zookeeper was getting impatient. The house had become a refuge, but I was the one who needed refuge from the lions and tigers and bears. Specifically, Paddington Bear, who exclaimed, "I'm a very unusual bear." Over half of the animals hibernate, and they were all looking for a new home. When the girls were little, the creatures were small, but then they grow and multiply. So, I was the dreaded dog catcher. To counter that dreaded Build-A-Bear store, I fantasized about a Destroy-A-Bear store. Customers would mutilate furry beasts in contraptions reminiscent of the Spanish Inquisition. Paddington in the Iron Maiden, Pooh Bear on the rack, Mickey Mouse caged upside down. With 4 sets of grandparents, I blamed divorce. That quadrupled everything. But my mother-in-law wrote checks. She talked my language. Vanguard, large cap, index funds. Yeah, pay for college, stuffed Eeyore. So, I thought of my family. The ones responsible for baby's first Valentine Bear, baby's first Lucky the Leprechaun, baby's first Bunny, first Witch, and first Frosty. The timeout crying doll, however, was the worst. My mom Joanne just had to buy her. Had to? About 3 foot tall in Oshkosh Bagosh clothes, the girls wept eternally into our living room wall. Oh, that's a wonderful memory to recall 30 times a day, a crying brat in timeout. Thank you so much. That's the problem. Gifts are easy to receive, but impossible to trash. 100 years ago, kids had maybe, one teddy bear? I wasn't prepared for once a week bear. Curious as to the actual number, I snuck one day into my girls' bedrooms and counted a menagerie of 72 stuffed animals. This was after 2 years prior, I had carried 3 Kmart 42-gallon totes to the attic for safe burial, hibernation. But that striped tiger still faithfully guarded Sarah's bed, while the pink dolphin still swam in Catherine's sheets. To make Catherine's bed, I evicted 27 animals. Next to her bed loomed a Matterhorn of snouts, claws, trunks, and tails. How did they breathe? My wife and I had in mind a new chest of drawers, but there was this mountain of cotton to bulldoze. There is no chapter in Parenting for Dummies called Talking Compassionately to Daughters about de-stuffing stuffed animals. The talk came on a rainy Sunday afternoon. Catherine complained, "But Dad!" This did not go well. In 20 years, I didn't want her in therapy, me as the wicked dark father who threw out her, quote, stuff. I excavated a 3-foot Clifford. My stomach still growls with the "where in the hell am I going to put that" feeling. Who can we donate Clifford to? Catherine suggested Alex, her cousin, because Big Redness was from my mother and Alex was my sister's kid, it would all work out. Donating dictates delicacy. It depends on who gave it and where it's going. My father's gargantuan white Christmas bear could not go to my wife's niece. That's just a rule I learned. We gave Alex this stuffed riding zebra that Dad gave Sarah. When she was 2, she enjoyed it for a week, and then it just became another thing to stub my toe. When I confronted my dad about our stuffed animal crisis, he claimed that since the zebra was furniture, it didn't count as a stuffed animal. But Dad! And yes, I'm complaining about a man who doted with love, generosity, and babysitting. When he saw something stuffed, he couldn't resist. How about an oven stuffer roaster, Dad? Back on Catherine's mountain, I unearthed 2 4-foot stuffed twin dolls with Rapunzel braided locks. These monstrous, steroid-ridden girls, Tweedle Chick and Tweedle Ditz, in contrasting green and red, have wrestled me many times. They always won, and I wasn't about to forget. Their eternal smirks would never burn another ironic scar on me again. They were gifts from Dad. When I pleaded again about the severe stuffed animal crisis, he laughed and said, "You said nothing about stuffed girls." But Dad! Back then, China sent a yearly card. Our economy thanks you. After deciding that Tweedle Chick stayed while Tweedledits left, Sarah entered asking, "What you guys doing?" She picked up a smiling stuffed pumpkin puppet. "Remember when we made that funny movie?" What she remembered was the video of a puppet show we made one evening behind an overturned card table. Sarah played the evil animal-smashing baby. The pumpkin was the valiant knight who had been hideously transformed. That, of course, had to stay. But Guy Smiley from the Cheerios box? Gone. As did Dudley Do-Right's girlfriend with the John Deere derriere. Catherine claimed she got her with Mom Unbound at the Echelon Mall one day when it was raining. How did she remember that? I've been told that women are gifted with something called emotional memory, meaning nothing can be tossed because there are emotions injected into everything, including tears, drool, and estrogen? Is cotton polyester stuffing or hormones? Then we came across the dreaded sleeping Elmo. It had been funny, once, twice, when he would wake up and shout, "I feel great!" But at 3 a.m, startled from a deep sleep with Elmo chanting, "I feel great!" I was just thinking, I feel like crap. Shut up, shut the hell up. Die, Elmo. There I was, down on all fours, late at night, searching in the dark for the deranged doll with the loose wiring, waiting to dispatch its corpse to the shades of the Sesame Street Cemetery. I hoped that Elmo wouldn't wake up Sarah. After the 20th, "I feel great!" I snagged him and dumped him with Oscar the Grouch. Seriously, I literally shoved the toxically positive, sleep-wrecking fiend in the trash. In the morning, he was rescued. By whom? How was he found? Was it a satanic intervention? I was also a, quote, mean father. Did it matter that I was trying to let them sleep? There's been no decision on psychotic Elmo. Perhaps he still exists, somewhere in a dark box. Do you still feel great, buddy boy? Was there someone I disliked that much to give it to? Catherine then pulled out Charlie the monkey. His squeezed tummy farted. My mom got that for me, actually. It's the only stuffed animal I still have. Charlie reminded me of the long ago when Mary Jane, then my girlfriend, and I said goodnight at 2 a.m. It was after a marvelous date. We wanted to be traditional and not sleep over. Instead, I just waited 4 hours. Dressed in pajamas and loafers, I knocked on Mary Jane's door at 6 a.m. with Charlie in my arms, who joined us for coffee and bagels and laughs. Who could resist such romance? And there, Charlie the farting monkey remained, right on Mary Jane's bed. With that much emotional memory, of course, I kept him. After 29 years of marriage, he still farts under the covers when needed. The old Dutch oven trick. Does Mary Jane find that funny? Okay, so what sense can we make for all this stuff? Was I wrong to feel the nagging, ungrateful feeling? What can we say? What can we do with that 20th porcelain doll? Those eyes nagged me for the most, as they probably did and still do for you too, right? I wanted to poke them out, Edgar Allan Poe-like. But I either turned the dolls around to keep them from seeing into my soul, or I turned them belly side down, buried alive, for long, deep sleep, high on the Nepenthe. It was impossible to be a modern-day Thoreau. Beware of all enterprises that require new dolls. And wasn't it Hemingway who wrote, "The road to hell is paved with unbought stuffed dolls"? We didn't need a larger house. We just needed less stuff. I would have been more than willing to get rid of everything that wasn't important to me. In fact, I would have cleaned everything I owned, except for my Library of Congress, my 500 CDs, my crates of old albums, my essays, my poems, my army men, my dilapidated wrist game, my guitar, and my 107 ties. Can we agree that it's not better to give than receive, or that it's not better to receive than to give? Isn't it just better to hug, converse, and take a walk in the park? And then if you really need to give, why not donate to a 403B Iowa College Fund or a Roth IRA? That $10 irresistible fuzzy bear will collect only dust, not compounded interest. I recall wanting to keep writing because as soon as I was done with this essay, I'd have to lug another tote into the attic. I would have to rearrange more boxes, mark the location in zone 9Z, and pray that we never moved, which we did, and that's a whole other story. But I still get chills when I remember Sarah's dreaded words, "Daddy, do you know what happened to my 3 Pooh Bears?"